My kid is 20 and literally had to Google and ask Chat GPT about why OJ Simpson dying was a big deal to my parents. What is something which happened in life or culture which this generation Alpha will just never understand? Nothing was on demand. It was on when it was on, and you adjusted accordingly. You set your VCR to record it and hope the clock was set right. Then hope it didn't record over something else that was on the tape. LOL. Or call the DJ on your landline phone for a song and wait to press the record button on the cassette player. Watching MTV to see the latest music. When Whitney Houston died, a younger family member Gen Z asked how relevant Whitney Houston was to music and why it was such a big deal that she died. I almost keeled over. I overheard a conversation between what I'm guessing is Gen Alpha about how talented Paris Jackson is, how her dad was some famous singer guy from the 80s. That one hurt a lot. Had to Google and ask Chat GPT, but when you can click a link. I guess this would explain why a lot of the younger generation doesn't know anything about tech. They're dependent on AI for even the most simple things on the internet. Last year, my cousin 15 asked me 35 what it was like socializing before social media and the internet. I explained, and he seemed so sad when he realized how much better it was. He was even sadder when I explained that AIM was pretty much where things should have stopped, and that I got kind of the best of both things. Depending on their age. The early COVID years. My kids were alive during it, but they will never remember it. Kind of like how I was alive for the Berlin Wall falling, but I was only a year old. Just totally missed the cultural importance of the event by just being a little too young. Dear article for the 1994 NBA Finals has to have a section dedicated to the broadcast being interrupted for his chase with the LAPD, because that's how big a deal this entire media circus around him was. Microfiche. Even the sound of the word in my head creates a specific nostalgia in me that is wholly unpleasant, but in an indescribable way. Kind of like that weird feeling you get when you dig in your belly button. But in my soul. Going into the first lockdown, society was not expecting it. Nor was it built for it. In some parts of the world it effectively went over 2 years. They may have different, more serious lockdowns, but they won't have the first. Geez, I am 28 and I know who OJ was ... I will say though, it was disturbing to hear someone of my millennial generation ask what the heck is Gilligan's Island ... I know it wasn't a major point in history. But seriously, unpopular take OJ, his rise and fall, was never important. It was packaged media. Designed to sell ads and now clicks. OJ was the least important note in the storm of the 90s. What does your kid think about Desert Storm? The Berlin Wall coming down. Heck. I didn't get at the time. But I remember seeing the live footage of people ecstatically tearing it down with hand tools. By the eye was able to grasp the significance. Think about it this way. There is an entire generation, and will continue to be more, that have no idea about 9/11. I remember that day. It is when everything changed in America. You right this moment. Remember before I was everywhere. Yes, we had Siri and Alexa and OK Google for a while, but ... right now is still the before on AI. My kid is 20 and literally had to Google and ask ChatGPT about why OJ Simpson dying was a big deal to my parents. LOL. Okay, this one hurt my feelings. Obama getting elected president. Young people think of the first black president as trivia. They don't understand what it used to be like in America. You can't go off-grid and disappear. People have tried it. They always get found. Seem to never get found if they get lost unintentionally. The eagerness and excitement of running home to the mailbox and see if the friend you wrote a letter to a week ago has written back. So they typed all of that but couldn't just type 2 letters and read an article. To answer your question, computer literacy. I'm 50 and I still don't know why it is a big deal. A murderer died who got away with murder. Oh, and he played football. Are Boy Scouts still a thing? I was one when I was a kid and it was dope. I was one of the lucky ones, I guess. I'm 35 and I don't think his death is a big deal. We all die. The trial had a much bigger impact than this. Europe before the Euro. Life without the internet being a big thing. The excitement of linear TV. They'll never understand living through the sheer shock of 9/11 and the way it changed history. My 13-year-old kid had to Google a Michael Jackson song after I asked him to name one. Why was OJ dying such a big deal? He was a shitty person. No attention needed. Meh. OJ was never important. He got away with double murder and finally died. Y2K, Michael Jackson. 9/11. Drugs before fentanyl. When weed was illegal. The other day, our 11-year-old asked me that. Who's Jay Leno? Y2K. How do I explain something so silly sounding to my young coworkers? I'm 35 and I didn't know what it was all about and had to ask people. Coney 2012, though I'm not sure the rest of us understand it either.